Well, we hope that you'll relent and allow them a little bit of extra time. These people from Pennsylvania, they know quite a bit. They've been working on this issue for the past 40 years. They know the people in Plymouth personally. Craig Stevens actually delivers water to some of these people who, without it, the EPA does not deliver water to everybody. And Vera Scroggin does a lot of videotaping of these people. So they're both very, very knowledgeable in this area of knowing what's happening in the Dimmock area and now in another area of the county where there's heavy gas drilling. I recently presented a PowerPoint, which you have in front of you, to the future leaders of Shenango County. And it took an hour to present it, but I'm going to try to zip through some of it right here, right now, because we want you to actually bring this up for a vote and pass it. The moratorium does not commit you to a ban, but it does at least allow you the time to consider it. Whereas if you wait until Cuomo approves gas drilling or approves this SGIS, the final SGIS, and the DEC starts issuing permits, then at that point it gives the gas drillers extra legal power. At that point they can actually have a better chance of suing the town for takings in case at that point the town decides that this is a very damaging process. We have no lack of evidence that it is a very damaging process. There have been water well contaminations in Dimmock, Pennsylvania, Bradford County, Pennsylvania, Coatesville, Ohio, Bainbridge, Ohio, Washington County, Pennsylvania, Butler County, Pennsylvania, and many others, as documented on Amy Mall's blog on NRDC site. The recent EPA investigations in Dimmock revealed arsenic, barium, DEHP, glycols, and manganese in water wells in Dimmock area. ProPublica in 2008 article revealed that tests in Sublette County showed contamination in 88 of 220 wells examined, and a plume of benzene in the water had spread 28 miles in the aquifer. More recently in Pavilion, Wyoming, the EPA has been investigating, and they found synthetic chemicals such as glycols, alcohols, consistent with gas production and hydraulic fracturing fluids. Benzene concentrations well above Safe Drinking Water Act standards, and high methane levels. Again, this is an area where they're drilling, and hydrofracking. EPA is concerned about the movement of contaminants within the aquifer and the safety of drinking water wells over time. Stephanie Hollowich in Washington County, Pennsylvania. She and her family were being poisoned without realizing it, and when they finally figured out what might have been happening, they had their water tested, and they found, once again, they found contamination: ethylene, benzene, toluene, styrene, tetrachloroethylene, all cancer-causing organic compounds, all from the drilling. These are all constituents that they use in the drilling fluids. In addition, she said that the air is bad and that they were suffering from burning eyes, sore throats, headaches, earaches. They had, to injury, they had to pay $500 a month to have water delivered to them. Ranger Resources finally agreed to pay them off, but of course they required a non-disclosure agreement. So, and that is the trick of the industry. Whenever they settle with anybody, they require the person they're settling with to sign a non-disclosure agreement. So there's a picture you have of Stephanie's dream house. When they built the house, there were no gas wells in the area. All of this gas well and pipeline infrastructure was built after they had put their house in there. Are you saying I've already run out of time? Okay.
Thank you. Anybody else like to address the board? Yes, sir.
First, my apologies for water coming in late. I kind of time screwed up and I do apologize. So my name is Billy Jones. I'm going to send you a letter after the last meeting. I'd like to make some extra comments. It is my opinion that if you do not pay taxes in town of Plymouth, people on either side should have no input on what the town board does. Not pro-gas, or I don't care who you are. You should have no input on what happens in the township of Plymouth. That's one thing. The second point is regarding outside speakers. For every one speaker, either side could bring 10. It's really counterproductive for the town's time. It makes no sense to continue to bring people in because either side, either pro or against, are going to be biased on their side. So from the town board standpoint, it's really counterproductive, I feel. And lastly, Delaware County is suing the state for $325,000 an acre because of what the state is, even with the report, trying to stop them from drilling on the property down there. Anybody wants to give me that for my land, welcome, they can have it. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Cindy Brown, I'm a resident of Versailles, and I have to make a rebuttal to that because if the water is contaminated 28 miles away, I'm 28 miles away. So I think that we do need to be able to come and speak about what's going to happen to our water too. If the town of Plymouth goes in, then I'm affected by that. So I thank you for your time, and I'd like to say that you have an excellent board meeting.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Dean, I'm from the town of Plymouth also. I brought it up the last time about outsider speaking, so I won't say it again. One thing I will say is it all started out with the roads. The roads are going to be tore up, they're never going to fix them. Well, it's not true. The gas companies actually do fix the roads. You can ask any of the townships around here, Eden, Lebanon, Smyrna, Preston, Plymouth, whether they fix the roads. They have. So that's all I've had. I vote heavily against the moratorium. So. Thank you.
Anybody else? Yes, sir.
I spoke last month also. I think you're doing the right thing and waiting for the guys to come out before you make any decisions. I also urged you last time to seek advice of counsel. I hope that you're doing that if you're thinking of doing anything else, like a ban or anything like that. But to get off of the flavor of the day, I need to ask you if there's anything in the budget for Tinker Ridge Road. I don't know if you've been up there, but sure would be nice to have some oil and chip down there. I mean, I won't let my parents drive up that road.
I defer to the highway superintendent. I don't know his plan.
I don't know yet. We got to start grading and stuff, hopefully a couple weeks. All depends what the weather does.
Okay, do we have any oil and chip in the budget for it this year?
No.
Is there going to be any in it next year?
Then you gotta wait for the budget.
How much does oil and chip cost now?
For the oil and stone, about 20,000.
Mine?
Doing 20 and 30. That's not down if you gotta put gravel on it. It's got to gravel anyway.
How about how long is that road?
3.5.
Excuse me, I'd like to hear them. Thank you.
So that's
It's like 3.5 miles.
3.5 miles, so that's roughly 70 down.
70, 70, I'd say closer to 80 to 100.
80 to 100,000.
Save any money on snow removal this year?
Not that one. Okay, do you have anything further for us?
That's all, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, sir, the town clerk is asking me what your name was?
Bob O'Neill,
Thank you.
O-E-H-M-E.
Thank you.
My name is Gloria Manley, and I've lived in the town of Plymouth for probably 50+ years. And I have some remarks, kind of hydrofracking risks and dangers. The U.S. Geological Survey widely regarded as impartial and authoritative, has warned New York State regulators that their plan to allow drilling and hydraulic fracturing for natural gas in the Marcellus Shale could endanger private water wells, municipal aquifers, and New York City's drinking water supply. U.S. EPA, New York State DEC, they are ill-equipped to regulate a boom in shale gas drilling and have limited financial means to enforce the numerous new regulations they have proposed. New York State has understated the severity of radioactive pollution and doesn't know how such contaminants would be disposed of. In 1989, abandoned wells had contaminated groundwater. More than 80 households undrinkable. Nearly 60,000 wells that needed to be plugged. In the last decade, New York has managed to plug only about 125 of its estimated 40,000 deteriorating wells. Engineering expert calls fracking a chillingly effective and thorough method of poisoning drinking water. As water moves through joints, fissures, and bedding planes into a well, so do contaminants. In fractured media such as shale, water follows preferential pathways, moving fast and far, miles per week in some cases. If your well goes bad, neither you, nor your children, nor their children will ever be able to get safe, clean water back. Chemicals injected into the aquifer will persist for many lifetimes. Get monthly lab analysis on your water several years after drilling ceases. The DRBC must plan to protect the water resources of the basin in perpetuity. This requires looking beyond short-term impacts to problems that may not occur until 100 years from now or more. The commercial extraction leaves 75 to 80% of the methane in all shales. The long-term life of the future abandoned and aging wells presents a serious threat for the future generations and a cost much greater than the short-term dollar benefits. After years of deception, the whole natural gas story is starting to emerge, and engineers like me, plus scientists, physicians, generals, admirals, ranchers, farmers, landowners, and regulators are seeking answers to those questions. 352,000 Canadian wells found sustained casing pressure and gas migration. They found that about 12% of the newer wells leaked, considerably more than older wells. The process is getting worse, not better. Poor cementing and tubing failures lead to gas migrating to the surface, causing sustained casing pressure, surface casing gas, soil contamination, aquifer contamination. Note, gas can leak from production tubing or from anywhere up the well bore. Ground level ozone, the main ingredient in smog, worse than those recorded in Los Angeles. In Dish, Texas, detected levels of cancer-causing benzene, sometimes at levels dangerous to human health, likely coming from industry's 60 drilling wells, gas production pads and rigs, a treating facility, and compressor station. The gases escape into the atmosphere during drilling from storage tanks, compressors, along pipelines, and other equipment. Yes, I'm up. Okay, thank you for your time.
I would like to speak. I'm from Pennsylvania, from Susquehanna County. I'm in the same county where Dimmick is and other townships.
What's your name, please?
My name is Vera Scroggins. I can speak? Okay. I just want to say that I've been watching this industry. I'm part of a citizens watch group called Citizens for Clean Water, and I live in the county, and I was introduced to what was happening in the county from a friend of mine who lives in Dimmick, and she introduced me to families there that are starting to get affected by the gas industry. So the gas industry came in 2008, and they entered through the southwest corner of our county. And Dimmick has got a population of 1,400 people, approximately. It's about 30 square miles, and it's a rural, of course, county. We have 30 counties in our state, rural counties that are impacted by gas industry right now. And this is where our food and our water, our milk is coming from. So at this point, they came in and they told the people it was going to be just one well in Dimmick, 30 square miles. Now they have 120 wells. And it's still growing. They're not even finished there. This is 4 years, and they've been building 120 wells. And then with the wells comes all the infrastructure. You have all kinds of pipelines that have to come in. They have to come in all along to gather everything. They have to then go to the compressor stations. Then they had to build the compressor stations. We have now 3 of them in Dimmick, and we have plans for 12 for our county. And they're building another one just a mile from the biggest compressor station that we have in Dimmick, which just opened only in September. And they keep telling us every 2 to 4 miles you may have to have a compressor station to push everything through, to compress it, to dehydrate it. And this goes, they want to get every mile or every half mile, there will be a well site. That means all the pipelines coming from each well, then it goes to the gathering line goes to the compressor station. This is throughout the whole county. Our whole county is considered an industrial zone. We don't just put industry in certain sections anymore, or you have like an industrial park. No, the whole county now is an industrial park. We basically have no zoning. We're a rural, very rural county, 50,000 people in the whole county. So this is what we have to face and live with. And it is now going north. Dimmick has the people with the problem with water, it started with them. Now to the southeast, Lennox. There's a whole group of families with contaminated water. So the industry said, we will improve it for you. Add extra casings. Add 2, 3 casings, more cement. We'll improve the cement. So what happens? We still have cases. So now it's flowing through the southeast section, it's spreading. Then it went north. Now it's going north. And now we have some new cases that just happened. This is after all the improvements. Extra plastic on the ground because they said it could spill in the ground and go into the aquifer. Now we have extra casings, better cement, put some latex in it, make sure there's no little holes in there so nothing gets through. So now what do we have 4 years later? More cases. We have a whole new group in the northern part of the county, which is getting closer to New York, which is all of you guys. We're only about 10 minutes now, the plume from New York. So the water is now spritzing out of the water heads of the wellheads. So you have a wellhead in the ground, and you go there, it's right next to the family's home, and it's coming out super high pressure, and it just seeps right out of there. So this family, which we just met, and you can come and meet them, you can come and see them. I give tours every week for 3 years. We can show it to you, you can meet the families. And they have to live in the house, they can't drink the water. Too much high pressure methane, barium, aluminum, other metals. They have children in the house, grandchildren in the house. There's a whole group of homes in this section. The water changes color. It goes from clear to yellow to orange and then to black. Some of the homes have black water. It stops up all the plumbing. Now this is what the people have to live with. And then they tell you, you've got to prove this. Know how many tests they have to go through? Test after test. Then the DEP comes in. Then the gas company comes in. Months go by. Meanwhile, you can't drink the water. Then you have to try and shower in it. Then they tell you, why don't you now vent your shower? Because the methane starts to increase inside the house. These people have to live in this. They don't have the money to move into another house. They can't even sell the house. Who would buy it? So anyway, that's part of the problem. Come to us and see.
Good evening, folks. My name is Craig Stevens. I'm from Silver Lake Township, Pennsylvania, and I was the other invited person. I've spoken in about 20 different locations in New York State. I was invited to speak, actually, but I'm a conservative Republican from Southern California. I'm born and raised in California, but I inherited, through my father's death in 2007, a part of a 115-acre property in Silver Lake Township, Pennsylvania. I have the deed. Anything I tell you will be fact, and I have the documentation. I don't talk feelings up here. One thing I had a problem with was right after my dad passed away, he would never sign a lease. He lived there since 1994. They found my grandmother in a nursing home in signed her at 95 and a half years old, Chesapeake Energy did. She was only the life tenant, folks. She did not own one bit of the property. Her name is on one line of the deed. They still recorded that on the deed. When they found out what they did, they realized they needed to get some owners, so they went after my aunt and uncle, who owned a third each. They live in the West Coast. They signed for nothing away 1/3 of their property. They paid my grandmother $135.10 an acre. I didn't find out about it until about 2 years after it. Matter of fact, I have a document here they would never share with me. That's one of the ratifications with my dad's name on it. He was deceased, so it said my brother is his executor. I have a problem when they sign 95 and a half year olds. When it's your own grandmother, it is home. Then what they did was, this is America's Fuel, right? And now we were all told America's Fuel. They sold 1/3 of all interest in the Northeast. Chesapeake did 32,000 leases, 1/3 interest, to Stat Hydro Oil from Norway. You know that Stat Hydro Oil is a nationalized company. So the country of Norway owns 1/3 of the mineral interests underneath my property. I don't think that money is staying in America. I found out in Pennsylvania, a life tenant can't sign a gas lease. Chesapeake would not undo it. I went after them for months. They refused to deal with me. So I told them I would take them to the court of public opinion because taking them to court was too expensive. So the Associated Press ran a 20-paragraph story on November 26, 2010, worldwide. Picture my grandmother in a rocking chair in the nursing home on the front page of every newspaper in not only the United States, but in the world. Chesapeake got a little more interested in speaking with me after that. Now, after you sign a lease with them, then they start sending you these. That's them. It's the same company, a different name. They want to buy the rest of your minerals. They only want to pay you a little bit of money for it, but they'll buy you out so that you don't have to sit around and wait for that well to get put in. Isn't that nice of them? So I carry around the 10 Commandments with me because it's a very Bible belt where I'm from. I believe in God, and I believe God put our resources here. I also carry the Constitution with me. It's very well worn. And I carry the Pennsylvania Constitution with me. And they're very clear that they protect our rights to our water and our air. Laser Midstream, I have a gas lease now. Chesapeake did decide to pay us and recognize the 1/3 ownership. There's Laser Midstream. I have a shared family property. They put a half a mile of Laser Midstream pipeline, the one that went from Windsor to Friendsville. Would you like to know that they destroyed my property in the process? And I got the DP up there 4 times. They said there was nothing wrong. But isn't it interesting that just a few weeks ago, the Fish and Boat Commission fined them $20,000 for things they did on my own property. I find it very interesting. I got involved in DEMIC. We all know about DEMIC. And the problem there is, just wait this week. EPA, the next week or two, is coming out with 60 test results from 60 wells, not 12. They tested a plume, and we'll find out who's being naughty and who's being nice. And then, when your neighbor, when they put in the laser line, they had a blowout in the creek in my backyard. They dumped 100,000 gallons of a liquid of unknown origin on my private property outside of the scope of the right-of-way that I offered to give them. I think they thought it was funny, but it's a rural property, so watch your rural property, folks. They use it as a dumping ground. I'm not the only one they did this on either. Then when they were cleaning up the mess in my creek, they rolled over one of their 40-ton trucks on my neighbor, John Jones' car. His 17-year-old daughter was sitting next to him. He was crushed to death. She survived. She walked out on her side. They still have not told us what happened, but the guy driving was from Texas. And guess where he is now? He fled the area, and they're never going to find him again. So here's the problem. I'm not against drilling. I'm for safe drilling. And they have not proved to anybody in my area that they can do it safely. And I'm not picking on Cabot. Chesapeake's had problems. And now Williams, right down the street from my home, has done all the damage. We have a 6 people that just came forward. And guess what, folks? I'm not interested in their excuses anymore. Don't take any more water from our rivers, and don't poke any more holes in my state until you fix the problems you've already caused and admit you did it. I know that industrial activity can have problems. We all do, right? All of us know that. Farmers know that for sure. So, come on, folks. Let's be a little bit smarter than this. This is not staying here. Right now, the insult is the Constitution pipeline is going to go right through the heart of New York State. Sounds great. It's going to Boston Harbor. If you think one bit of that gas at $2.24 billion is going to stay here. They make 7 times that selling it to Japan, Russia, India, and China.
That's right.
It's never going to stay here. So you, the landowners, are going to get paid a very small percentage, what, 12.5% to 20% on your minerals? That's all you're going to get paid at the wellhead. They're going to send it to Boston Harbor, liquefy it, and they're going to make 7 times that profit, and you, the landowner, are going to get 0 of that profit margin. It's not their gas, it's your gas, underneath your property. That's what God put underneath your property for you to utilize. Why would I, if this was a gold mine, would we let them take it out at $200 an ounce? Or would we want full price? That's all I can say to you is, I'm not here to tell you not to do something with your own personal property. I'm telling you, nothing they told me was the truth. Every single thing was a lie. I don't do business with liars. Thank you very much. And I also have, here's the 21 questions to ask, and I'll leave these with you. Thank you. I'll leave these with you. If you want to really find out whether they're your partners or not, ask them these questions.
Thank you for the heads up.
I just want to say, there's so much going on, I'm too emotional here right now, but my name is Alberto Rodriguez, and I'm from the town of Butternut, and I did take one of Bear's tours from Pennsylvania, and thank you for all the work you're doing, and Stephen, and so that's something that I did, and I recommend everybody who really wants to see what's going on, just take these tours, not the corporate tour, but take the people tour. I just wanted to say that I have 2 publications here. One is from Theo Goldberg and Doctrine and Technology. It's called the Natural Gas Operations from a Public Health Perspective, because the EPA is not doing it, and the DEP is lagging behind. I have another report here from Impacts of Gas Drilling on Human Health, on Human and Animal Health. And this one is by Michelle Berger and Robert E. Also. They're from Pennsylvania. They're 2 veterinarians, and they've done a study on the gas drilling. And then I'll just read a little bit of here because I want to try to say a little more without rushing through this. I'll just read part of the abstract at the end. And it says, complete evidence regarding health impacts of gas drilling cannot be obtained due to incomplete testing and disclosure of chemicals and the non-disclosure agreements. So to me, it's not these 5,000 disclosure agreements that we know about. To me, those are 5,000 contaminated wells. So when they say that not one well has been contaminated, that's false in my opinion, according to this. These 5,000 non-disclosure. Okay? Without rigorous scientific studies, the gas drilling boom sweeping the world, because this is not happening here only, will remain an uncontrolled health experiment on an environmental scale. This is a human health crisis here, what we're going to have after this, or while they're doing this. This is a human health crisis, a health crisis, what's happening here. And on Theo Corbin, I just want to address the people that say that you come from somebody else. I care about you, I care about my neighbor, I care what happens 200 miles from here. So if something's happening in your town that I think that I should defend, that I think it's wrong, I will be there, and others will be also. The gas field zone has created a previously unrecognized air pollution problem in rural areas, similar to that found in large urban areas, and can spread up to 200 miles beyond the immediate region where gas is being produced. And this is in the U.S. Congress Office of Technology, 1989. So this is why I'm here, because I'm concerned about my neighbors 200 miles away. These compression stations that Vera was talking about, that's exactly what she is talking about here, the study. And we have to be cautious on this. We can't just rush into this. And David Slotchy was here, and he made a presentation. He came to my town. I am proud of my supervisor. I am proud of my town board members. They're taking action. They're protecting us. Right now, Friday, we're having Monday, we're having a vote on, we have a moratorium already. We have a public meeting. They're gonna have a decision by Monday on the 19th, and I hope it's for us, and I hope it's for the health of the community. And I tell you guys, you have to get people here, because this is dangerous. That's what we did. We kept going and going, and we had to get signatures, so just like you've gotten signatures in your town. and you're not just being listened to. This has to be continued. You have to demand a moratorium. You need to protect your citizens. And I just want to read another law, a case law, if I have enough time, hopefully. And this is the United States, do I have time? Okay. The United States Supreme Court stated in Town Belletera versus Boris, 416 USA, the concept of public welfare is broad and inclusive. The values that it represents are spiritual as well as physical, aesthetic as well as monetary. It is within the power of local legislator, I repeat that again, local legislator, to determine that the community shall be beautiful as well as healthy, spacious as well as clean, well balanced as well as carefully patrolled. And that's what you were put in office to do. And I wish and I hope that you do pass a moratorium. And if I can squeeze one more thing in there, because there's so much that I want to say. I want to thank you for what you're doing, because it does get people coming in and wanting to presentations. I respect your decision. But the only time that you can really get all the supervisors together and all the the supervisors and the council are in town board meetings. In my town, we did special meetings. And all the representatives, then some did, most of them showed up, maybe one or two didn't. But that's why people are urgent. They want you to hear these stories. Because you have to hear the people. You can hear the lawyers, and you can hear the chemists, and you can hear the biologists. But you got to hear the stories of the people that are going through this. And thank you again, Vera and Steve, for coming. I mean, thank you so much.
Better than the mob does, because the FBI don't even want to get involved. I've called the FBI, they don't want to get involved. They don't want to even know nothing. Who are they? Who made them the boss? If you guys don't even look out for yourselves, boy, are we in trouble. Governor Cuomo doesn't. All he cares about is his pocket.